Leonardo da Vinci once said that time waits just long enough for those who use it. So the question is, what are you doing with your time? We all have 24 hours in a day. What are you doing with your time? Are you building your dream? Or are you helping someone else build theirs? Are you putting in the work every single day, every single moment of now? Are you planning for your future? They say planning is bringing the future into the present so you can do something about it now. So the question is this: what are you doing with your time? Remember, the time is always now.
And thank you for joining me for the Time Is Always Now podcast. My name is Terence Young. I am your host for the podcast. This is a podcast that's dedicated to helping people get past their excuses. Helping people get past saying, I'm going to do it someday or one day, and instead saying, you know what, I'm going to do it right now, because the only time we have is right now. If you don't know who I am, I'm a new thought transformational speaker, a mindset coach. I help people get past those paradigms of saying, I'm waiting for the right time or the perfect time to do something, and helping them understand the only time I have to do it is right now. And when we do that, that's how we change our lives. So thank you for joining me for the Time Is Always Now podcast. If you don't know, we have a Facebook group. On Facebook, it is called the Time Is Always Now Facebook group. It's a great group of like-minded individuals who are striving continually to improve their lives for the better, to live their lives to the highest potential by harnessing the power in the eternal moment of now. So if you haven't joined us over there, by all means join us over at the Time Is Always Now Facebook group. Now, every week in the Facebook group we have a theme, and for this week our theme was getting unstuck. Sounds so simple, right? But getting unstuck, because we all get stuck in these ruts in our lives sometimes, and this week the theme was getting unstuck. So for this podcast, I'm going to share some tangible ways that you can find out how you're in a rut and then how to get out of a rut. So very, very important. So getting unstuck, I'm going to share a couple of ways with you here. One of the quotes that I used this week was, the first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not staying where you are. It sounds simple, right? But it's so true. You want to get unstuck, you have to make a decision. And I teach and I counsel about this all the time. So the most important thing you can do in your life is make a decision. Now, here's the important thing about making a decision. You have to actually follow through with making that decision. You have to be disciplined when you make that decision. You have to be consistent when you make that decision. I'm going to go through those again. 3 things. If you make a decision, in order for it to really be a decision, you have to follow through. You have to do what you say you're going to do. You got to be disciplined. That means you got to go through the work, whatever it takes to be disciplined every single day to do it. And you have to be consistently do it each and every day. There's an old saying that says that unless you change your behavior, you haven't really made a decision, right? Some people talk about making a decision, but they don't really do it. I mean, when it comes to, for instance, for me now, I'm working out, I'm lifting 3 days a week now and doing cardio 3 days a week, really, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I've made a commitment to it. And some days I don't want to get up and lift weights. I never liked lifting weights. And I still don't like lifting weights, but it's growing on me, it's getting better. But I know in order to, when I get back to running again, I know that weightlifting is so important. So I'm going to continue to do it. I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to make a decision and commit to it. If you want to get unstuck from wherever you are in your life, and whatever facet of your life it is, you have to make a decision. You have to follow through with that decision. You have to do what you say you're going to do. You have to be disciplined. And we can't accomplish anything without being disciplined. And you have to be committed. You have to be consistent over and over and over again. Every day, every single moment of now. And if you do that, you're going to get unstuck and move towards your goals, towards your dreams, towards whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Second one is this. Getting unstuck. Once you get unstuck, I used this one the other day. I saw a story on Facebook about it. It's funny. Once you get unstuck, then you can change the world. Some people think, whoa, what does that mean? I mean, I don't know. I didn't think I could change the world. That's first of all, that's thinking small. Yes, you can. One person can change the world. I want to share this story that I saw someone posted it on Facebook, and it was so interesting. It was Mark Zuckerberg, and the creator of Facebook. And he was talking about something. He was talking to somebody. I don't even know who he was talking to, but he said, Facebook wasn't the first thing I created. I created some other things. He named off some stuff, other kinds of websites and things that didn't work. But he kept going. He kept going until he found the thing that did work. And do you think Facebook changed the world? What if you would have just gave up? You know, maybe someone else would have came up with something like it, but he didn't. He didn't let himself be stuck. He created and created and created until he found the thing that works. This is our issue. We fail, quote unquote, one time and we give up. But every successful person fails all the time until they succeed. I've said it over and over and over again on this podcast. Michael Jordan, we just talked about Mark Zuckerberg. Name any of them, and they'll tell you. If you find somebody who hasn't failed, I'll tell you, you found somebody who hasn't succeeded. Because you can't succeed without failing. If you want to get unstuck, keep going for the dream or the goal that you have. If God put it in your heart, if it's in your heart, if you can dream it like that, then you already have the ability to do it. If it's coming to you, the ability is there. And here's the most important thing about this. Don't ever, ever, ever think that, well, somebody else is doing it. So since someone else is doing it, I can't do that because they're already doing it. No. No one can ever do whatever it is you want to do like you. So never compare yourself to someone else. You are completely, authentically you, and no one can do it like you. Now, you may like that other person. You may think they're super talented or whatever the case may be, but they're them and you are you. And you can always find a niche for yourself in the way you do things. And it's so important to know that. So once you get yourself unstuck, remember this. You have the ability, you have the power to change the world. So don't give up. Mark Zuckerberg didn't get up. What's the guy from KFC? Colonel Sanders, right? He started KFC when he was 60 years old. He didn't let himself get stuck. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. And once you get unstuck, remember this. You have the power, you have the ability. You have the knowledge to change the world. And the world is waiting on what you have to offer. Do not let this opportunity pass. It's so important. I love this other quote that I use. Do not define your future by your past. Never define your future by your past. You may have made mistakes in the past. I've made mistakes in the past. But that doesn't define who I am in the future. I've said this before. I said it on a live earlier. And it was, you don't have to be the same person you were 6 months ago. You don't have to be the same person you were 6 weeks ago. You don't have to be the same person you were 6 days ago. You don't have to be the same person you were 6 minutes ago. You don't have to be the same person you were 6 seconds ago. You can choose in this very moment of now what you're going to be moving forward. Remember, we are all given the eternal moment of now. So just because you may have made mistakes in the past, which we all do, does not mean that defines who you will be going forward. You define that. Don't let your past determine your future. You know what determines your future? What you do right now. Let me say that one again. You know what determines your future? What you do right now. This is important. What most people do is they're still looking at the past, thinking that's what's controlling their future. No, what's controlling your future is the fact that in this present moment, you're still talking about the past instead of creating your future in the present moment. We create our reality. We create our future by dealing with it and creating our opportunities, our gifts, our talents, using all of that right here in the present moment. You got to get unstuck. And one of the ways to get unstuck is use that mindset of yours and say, I'm not going to dwell in the past. I'm going to be in the present moment. Be here now. And if you are, you'll get yourself unstuck just by being here. You know how much I love the present moment. That's what this podcast is all about. That's what my teachings are all about. Getting into the present moment, because that's where God is. That's where it's all at. So you want to get yourself unstuck? Stop living in the past, get in the present moment, and create your future. Last one I'm going to share with you today is this. Nothing ever goes away until it teaches us the lesson we need to know. Nothing ever goes away. You're going to get the same scenario over and over and over again in your life. And you know this if you look back in your life. It may be a relationship. It may be a job. It may be whatever it may be. You're going to continue to get the same thing until you learn the lesson. That's the way the universe works. And what's happening is you are stuck. Okay? You're in a rut. Now, I call a rut this R-U-T. Rarely using thought. Right? That means you're operating on your subconscious mind and you're doing the same thing over and over and over again without realizing it. The results show up. Maybe with a different person, maybe with a different job, but the results are the same as they were in the past. You know this. If you really look back on your life, you know you're like, damn, I did have 3 different jobs and they all ended the exact same way. Yeah, that's because you were doing the exact same thing. It doesn't matter. You can change the job, the location, the people, but you're still you. I always say wherever you go, there you are. So if you want to get unstuck, you got to change yourself. The lesson is going to keep coming until you change your mindset. Until you change the mindset, then you get unstuck. Then you can move on. Now there'll be more lessons, of course. Right? We're not perfect. We continue to get lessons. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we achieve. That's how we get better, by going through life and learning lessons. But the lessons keep coming, and it'll look different, but still the results will be the same until you learn the lesson. You want to get unstuck? Learn what you're doing in your subconscious. Get back to that present moment. Get back to that present moment of now. Go from there and create your future, right? I love that first one. The first step towards getting what you want out of life is deciding you're not going to stay where you are. Remember that quote, decide. Make that decision, right? Make that decision. You are not going to stay where you are, right? You got to follow through on that. You got to be disciplined, and you got to continue. You got to be consistent over and over and over, every single day, every single moment of now. If you do that, you'll be able to get out of that subconscious mind, get into your conscious mind, get into the present moment, and you will be able to get yourself unstuck, move yourself forward so you can reach your goals, and then you can unequivocally say, I own the now, and I have won. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Time Is Always Now podcast. Remember to share this podcast with your family, with your friends, with your people on social media. Share it. I want everybody to be able to get these messages of hope, of inspiration, of encouragement. Everyone needs to hear this. My goal, my duty, my thought is to raise the consciousness of humanity so we can make our world a better place. Remember, if you are looking for one-on-one coaching, I do one-on-one coaching on finding your passion. I created a course on it, and I also do one-on-one coaching on finding your passion and living it right now. So if you are interested in one-on-one coaching for helping you find your passion, the thing that God put you here to do, get in contact with me. I would love to help you out in that quest for finding your purpose, finding your passion, and living it right now. This is T.Y. I appreciate you again for joining me for the Time Is Always Now podcast. I am signing off. Remember, the time is always now.